The thing that really strikes me, and thank you for sharing that, Eric. The thing that strikes me the most about what you said is actually your intention. You said, like, help me find the people that I'm meant to serve, to make a difference, to actually give value to.
Totally.
Like, you know what you didn't pray? You didn't pray, like, give me the monies, not the prayer you're making, right? Which I really appreciate that, because I think a lot of coaches, they sit in the place of, like, I'm not making money, I need to make money, help me find the money. And money comes through service, right? And you do enough service, you get money. But you have to also ask for the money and know how to do that well. Coaches Nation, welcome to the Coaches Journey podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Fernandes, and I'm here with Eric Ferguson, a coach who's been succeeding at getting clients, who's also been a member of CMC. Hey, it's Daniel, and you are about to watch a clip from our free podcast, The Coach's Journey, where we help you navigate the surprisingly difficult path of building a coaching business by people who are actually doing it. And we go live, raw and unedited every week in our free Facebook community. Coaches Nation, welcome to the Coach's Journey podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Fernandes, and I'm here with Eric Ferguson, a coach who's been succeeding at getting clients, who's also been a member of CMC. And I want to also do a shout out today. This podcast is recorded a few weeks earlier than you see it probably, but if you're a member of our community, you get it raw and live and unedited before we do all the editing and posting the stuff. And this week, our other leader in the podcast, Faisal Ensan, had a baby. So we just want to say, Faisal, how much we love you and support you, and we're so excited for you. Congratulations, and we will see you as soon as you're recovering from that process and come back. So he'll be back with us in a matter of weeks to the podcast, I think. So in the meantime, Eric, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Daniel. It's great to see you. And doing well for the most part. I'm fasting today. So I'm water fasting. So I'm going through some low energy, but
let's just decide we're gonna have a high energy podcast anyway. And let's bring the energy.
Yeah.
But also, Eric, some of the things I want to talk to you today about for those listening is some of the ways that you succeeded in getting clients, right? In creating these relationships with clients where they want to pay you to speak with them, right? I know you've done a bunch of that, so we can talk about different examples of clients that you've signed and how you've done that. If you want to talk about like how you've changed your thinking about pricing, or what strategies have worked in outreach as well as in sales, as well as in doing the coaching. And I would love to just hear, what do you think a coach, who's going through this process themselves would love to learn from you, whether they are early in the stages and don't have any clients, or if they've got a few, or even if they're having lots of clients, or have had enough, they're probably gonna learn something from our podcast today. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about that, and maybe start with like your biggest mistake that you've made in getting a client or work. I don't even like to say we're getting client, but creating this client relationship. What has been like a really big learning through a mistake that you've made?
I would say the biggest learning lately has been some of my enrollment sessions, where I let kind of the client, like the potential client, actually kind of throw me off my process and not follow through with what I kind of had planned. And so the session ended up not going, very well, and I just was sort of thrown off the whole time. So that was a big mistake. That was a potentially really, really great client. But that's where you learn, and that's how you understand how to do things better the next time.
Yeah, maybe tell us a little bit more, because I think what you're describing is you have an enrollment process that you're trying to follow, where you, I don't know if you're following the recommended masterclass of enrollment that we do, the discovery session process, the delivering sessions that sell, masterclass that CMC runs. Were you following that process?
So I have kind of a mix of a couple different things. So
right, and so I just want to say, it's not a required process, right? It's here's some really good frameworks that you can use to run your discovery calls. But if you're mixing with other things, that's totally great. So for those of you who have the masterclass, You don't have to do it exactly that way. So go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I've tried different things to see like what works the best and doing a lot of testing. I can still say that I feel like, I mean, I sign clients, but that's still not a, super great, um, the enrollment session could improve
Yeah.
significantly. So that's still something to work on. There's always more things to work on. But that even with that, signing clients is pretty cool. It does yeah. So that's
So, but you
definitely
have you're getting at that you had a little bit of a process that you were going to take them through. You had a plan for the enrollment session, and obviously, like the plan is going to be only a plan. You know, as Mike Tyson says, it plans great until you get punched in the face or whatever the quote was. And so like it's okay to have a plan. It's okay to modify and deviate from that plan, right? But in this case, did you let the client lead the session? Is kind of what I'm hearing between the lines. Is that what happened here?
exactly, yeah. I sort of, I'm doing a lot of this in-person stuff, and this happened to be I mean, a really awesome executive client that he was actually 55 and somewhere in that age range. And so
Mm.
for me, it's like this big 6'4" guy. I sort of like got out of my own shoes and got a little intimidated. And just by the in-person session and like doing it all that. So it's a great learning lesson for me. And what happened was I was starting my process, but then I sort of just, yeah, let go of it because of where the conversation went. And normally in a session, that's fine, but you can't let somebody lead. Like it's okay to let it flow, but you can't just let somebody sort of take over the whole session. And that's where yeah, it just didn't go well.
At what point in the session did you derail that? Did that feel like it derailed? Was it early on?
It really was really throughout the whole thing. Yeah, it wasn't, and maybe these things happen for a reason because it wasn't, that particular person wouldn't have been right or whatever. You have that growth mindset but yeah, it was pretty much throughout the whole thing. But again, it's great data to learn.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that and being vulnerable, Eric. I didn't actually expect us to talk about, like that first, but it just kind of came out. So I appreciate
Yeah,
you sharing with people. And one of the
yeah,
things that you're really highlighting here is with your enrollment process or with every session, the coach is the leader of the session. The
yes,
coach makes the decision as to where it's going to go. And
yeah,
the client is a co-creator of that. They're also helping decide. But a lot of the time, the client doesn't know where to go. Most of the time, I would say almost all the time, the client doesn't really know where to
right.
go. You're the expert who knows what turns to take, and where like this is going to be worthwhile. This is not going to be worthwhile. Let's not rabbit hole down here. Let's actually really talk about that thing that you said, whatever it is. So even in an enrollment session, especially with an executive perhaps who's used to being the one in charge of the meeting, um,
Right,
being able
exactly.
to at the beginning set expectations on like how we're going to navigate through the session. I've got this and this, I have some things that I want to take you through a process. Even if you say that, you still have to pay attention to how you do lead that process. So I love that, Eric. That's so powerful. And for those of you who don't have a process for your enrollment sessions, go to cmc.coach and go to our Facebook group. It's free. And message us. Let us know. And we totally like to help you point you in the right direction.
Mhm.
Okay, Eric, let's talk about some of the clients you did sign. Like, what do you think what was the factor that was really powerful for you in actually signing clients? What makes the difference?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just consistently reaching out to people. And it's not the most fun answer, I could say, but that's where the magic is. That's where the clients are. You have to, especially when you're a beginning coach, you don't have anything, established for anybody out there. You have to consistently reach out, have a higher, like you want to increase the volume of people you reach out to. But then definitely start with the warm leads and people you know, and just ask them if they know anybody. That's a great way to do it. But then moving on to people you don't know and reaching out to them. It's the biggest part of the process is the sales process. And you guys talked about like the sales system. And if you're not reaching out to people to tell them about what you do, to get intros, to find people that you can coach, you'll never have clients. That's just how it is. And you'll never have consistent clients unless you do it consistently every week, you know, every day. If you can, at least like reaching out. And that's how you get, yeah, that's the first step of it, that is required. It's not oh, I hope, I'll get clients another way. There can be referrals, there can be other things like that. But if you are somebody beginning, or even a couple years in, you have to have some type of, sales system, and that starts with talking to people. So it's a requirement to have clients.
Yeah, and Faisal uses the phrase a lot, and I like this phrase: is putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of coaches think, or maybe they don't think it consciously, but they feel it. It's like, I'm just going to call myself a coach and the clients will come and they'll pay me hundreds of dollars an hour. Like that's the
Yeah.
feeling that I think is sold to the coaching industry a lot.
Yeah.
But coaching is a very low barrier to entry. Like anybody can just call themselves a coach, right?
Right. Exactly.
The differentiator is how well you coach, but also how well you business and how well you outreach and how well you
Yeah.
generate opportunities to serve people. We also call it generate opportunities to coach. And to do that, you got to put yourself out there, and you don't have to be online to do that. You can do that in person. You can do that through your own warm connections. You don't have to have a website or anything, but it helps to be doing something to put yourself out there on a consistent basis. I love that, Eric. But to play devil's advocate, Eric, isn't that hard? Like when you started doing this, like what shifted your mindset on that, and what was the shift that you went like? What were you doing before that
Hmm.
wasn't working, and what were you doing after that really made the difference? I know you said consistency, but like walk us through that shift in mindset for you, that journey, because I know every coach starts completely inconsistent, most coaches. And so like walk us through
Yeah.
the time where you weren't consistent and tell us what that was like and the problems that you ran into.
Yeah. Yeah. You really have to understand that it's just how business works. So there is coaching, the process of helping somebody and serving somebody. And then there is the actual business side. There's the skills of coaching and then there's the business side. And if you want to run a business, one thing if you want to run like a nonprofit or something like that. But if you want to run a real business, those fundamental things of business are required, even as a coach, any type of business where you're going to be exchanging, transactions. So sales is a huge part of that. And so really it for me it was consistency. And I had looked at my gap of, okay, this week I did a lot, then the next week I would stop doing it. And so for me, I just realized, wow, it's not an option to not have a sales process if I want to have a real business. It's just not an option. I have to do this if I want a real coaching business. And that's just the truth, and it's as simple as that. And that's how business is. Now, for me, like the mindset shift in terms of like keeping yourself in a good place when you do that, I I've got my own ways of when I feel uncomfortable, when I feel like I don't want to necessarily do it today. I mean, almost all the time. I don't necessarily want to do it when I first start, but I always sit there, Daniel, and I go, okay. God, universe. I'm a very spiritual person. I think probably a lot of coaches are. And I say, please help me find the people, whether it's reaching out for DM messages or calling people or just, networking in person. Please help me find the people that I can really serve. Please help me find the people that are aligned with me, that I can really help and I can really serve, and that's a win-win-win all around. And I think when you connect it, for me, when I connect it to a higher power and I really put the faith in that and I really say, just ask for the aligned clients, that helps me move forward. That helps me take action because I know it's not just me. I know there's a higher power at play. And and so that helps me get the thing into motion. But I think, the next process, which I have somebody I'm talking to this week, is, eventually when you get it running, you can bring in somebody else to do the same thing, and you can also do it with AI these days. So I'm in the process of like getting somebody else in to help with this, and then also potentially using AI soon for at least the first initial messages. And then you're going to have to, still engage people and get them on calls, but it can just raise the volume. But that's how I would answer that question. And whatever mindset shift you need to take action, really look for that. But that's what really helped me be more consistent with the reach out.
I think that the thing that really strikes me, and thank you for sharing that, Eric. The thing that strikes me the most about what you said is actually your intention. You said like, help me find the people
Yes.
that I'm meant to serve, to make a difference,
Yeah,
to actually give value to. Like,
totally.
you didn't pray. You didn't pray like, give me the monies. Like
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
prayer you're making, right? Which I really appreciate that, because I think a lot of coaches, they sit in the place of like, I'm not making money. I need to make money. Help me find the money. And
Yeah.
money comes through service, right? And you do enough
Yes.
service, you get money. But you have to also ask for the money and know how to do that well.
Right.
And
Right.
there's so many layers of resistance that we go through. And let me ask, like, when you were before you got to this consistency level, what do you think are the things that made you have a week of reach out and then a week of no reach out? Like, why were you inconsistent before? Like, what are the things that
Mhm.
led to it? Was it mindset stuff? Was it logistical in your mind? Like, what's going on?
The biggest thing, I've started writing these notes, Daniel, like around my office, like in my room, because I wrote like, Eric, distraction is the biggest obstacle between you and your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Very important goals. How will you overcome it today? I just a piece of paper right here that I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I really think, especially in today's age, the biggest obstacle is distraction, getting you off traction. That's what distraction actually means. You're not having traction. So you're not having traction in your business. So for me, it's the obstacle was, okay, distraction is the problem. How can I handle that ahead of time to make sure I actually do the reach outs and I make offers and I talk to people about what I
And
do.
so how did you do that, Eric? How did you make sure ahead of time? This is a good question. I like that you said that. So like you have your little post. I have post note too on my desk. Today I'm building the future, not just my future, but other people's future. Like that's
Yeah.
what keeps me going too. But like, how did you make sure that you did it? Because I think this is the fundamental skill for coaches, is to make sure you're putting yourself out there and connecting with people, but then you
Yeah.
run into resistance and you stop, right?
Yeah.
And usually people stop right before it starts to work. Like 3 months is a good point at
Yes.
which is like, it feels like
Yes.
if I keep on going, I've just wasted 3 months. So I'm not gonna waste any more time. But like it was about to work.
Exactly.
But so tell me, Eric, like what did you do to make sure?
Yeah. I'm writing some else down there. But I think for
Nice.
me, it's I will I will like stack the most uncomfortable thing in the morning with my coffee. Um, because when I get my coffee and my bulletproof coffee and I get up early, I just go straight to like I like to work from coffee shops or I'm here at home. But I just go like today I went straight to the coffee shop, woke up, actually did a meditation, quick meditation, felt really good. Okay, I feel better, a little more awake. And then I went straight to the coffee shop. And I think me stacking my coffee with the most uncomfortable thing in the morning is the biggest way to get it done. Just do that, because then it's not as bad when you have your great cup of coffee. I love my coffee. I stack it with that. And I think Brendan Burchard always talks about done by one. What is that thing that you have to do for your business to be done by one? Like the thing is a non-negotiable. And that's going to be the sales and the reach out. So, yeah, that's how I do it, is I really make it the first thing I do. Sometimes there's a couple little things. Okay, I need to like, check in with my clients, just a couple messages or this or that. Sometimes that comes up right when I sit down, but most of the time it's okay, got my coffee. All right, how can I serve today? Who needs my help? Who can I, God, please help me find the person that I can serve today. And then I'll reach out, I'll send a bunch of messages, and I've got a process of which messages I send, depending if it's the first time, it's the, second or the third or the fifth time I'm reaching out to that person and following up.
Yeah, I
So
want to talk about that process in a minute because that's a great point you're making about process and having a contextual way to do this. But I want to also like highlight something you shared, which is the stacking thing you're talking about. You actually like it's not just about the coffee; it's about feeling great.
yeah,
And like, there's two pieces of this part. One is you don't waste a lot of time in the morning doing random stuff, distraction stuff. You don't check the news. You don't like, do your exercise maybe first. What's most important right now. And you say like, I get my coffee and I get to work first thing. So
that's
like,
it.
like you get yourself feeling good, and then you set an intention that motivates you. That's not about you, right? So you get yourself
Totally.
feeling good. You connect yourself to the people you're serving, right? And then you do the hard thing first.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
also called eating the frog. If like
Yes.
what's the hardest thing you have to do? Do that first, right? So
Yes.
I love this. And like what time do you typically start your outreach at?
Between 7 and 8 o'clock, I start.
So the first hour of your day, right?
First hour of the day.
And
Yeah.
that's a very, very important. Like if you're listening to this right now and you don't have a consistent hour of the day, or if you do have a consistent hour of the day, but it's the lowest energy hour you have, you may
Yeah.
want to move this earlier in the day and make it every day, right? Or maybe 3 times a week, or maybe even once a week, a consistent block that'll get you moving. You might feel like I don't have time for outreach. Well, if you don't have time for outreach, you're not going to have time to get clients, right? So,
Yeah.
so what are you spending all your time doing, right? And 1 hour a day is a really great habit because when you build a daily habit, if like I would guarantee that if you did this every day for the next 90 days, every single day, maybe even just every weekday,
Yeah, exactly.
you will come out a changed person and you will have a lot of opportunities and data to learn from. I'm not going to guarantee you're going to get a client. You probably will, but you might actually learn so much in that first 90 days that, in that 3 months, you'll like realize that you did it. You can do it. You got better at it. You've understood more about communication. You understood more about how to take people through a sales process, which is the hard part of coaching. It's an important coaching skill to take people through the sales process. And you're going to learn what works and doesn't work. And you're still going to make mistakes. I'm 10 years in, and I still make pretty brutal mistakes. Like I made a really bad mistake the other day where I had the most amazing client opportunity, and I sent them a proposal by text, which is, I know not to do that. I don't know why I did it. And that totally backfired, and I lost the opportunity. And so like you're still gonna make mistakes, and it's totally fine. The key is being consistent and not beating yourself up for making mistakes or things not working.
Yeah.
It needs to work is just the consistency, and it will eventually be so powerful that you can't resist it, which is where you want to get to. So thank you, Eric. Now I want to go back to the other question you raised, which is the process question. So like, what's your process like with people? Like, what kind of messages are you sending? You're saying like, is it warm, different than cold? And you said first message, third message, fifth message, or like, what do you think about this whole thing process wise?
Yeah. I I think the first, so I do a lot of cold outreach. I could I'd like to get I thought that actually last week I'd like to get back into the warm outreach. So that's a different process, but the cold outreach has worked. I think the first thing is always just connection. I think for me, I reach out to people wanting to connect and wanting to, it's human connection. Like nobody. wants to be sold anything. They want to buy. They want to be interested and buy something. And they buy things from people they know, like, and trust, right? That's like the three things of you can just always remember. People buy from sales, like people buy things they know from people they know, like, and trust. And so for me, it's always I reach out from here and I go, hey, I would love to connect with you. I have a specific message that I say right now, that I'm here in Austin. I'm looking to connect with more people here in Austin, to grow my business and network and build relationships. Would you be open to a 15-minute chat over Zoom this week or next? Right? Hey, yada, yada. And then I just fill in their name and then I just send that out to a bunch of people. So that's the first message. And it's just to connect. And it's just to start, just to get the door open. Is like, oh, hey, this is a person. And I have people, I'll reach out and just say that. And they'll be like, hey, can we hop on a call? I've gotten clients just from that first message. Hey, this is the perfect time to reach out to me. Can we talk tomorrow or the next day? And I drop my link. They book the call. It's a 30-minute connection call. Then we're on the call for 30 minutes and I take them through my process. Okay, the next call is going to be an hour. We're going to go through a coaching session together. We're going to see if it really fits for both of us. And then I present the offer at the end of that call. So
you're leading them through the process. What I love about what you're saying is it's a process that you're leading them through. Back to what we talked about at the beginning is like, you're the leader of the process and they can trust you to lead them through this. They can probably trust you to lead them through the thing that they're going to invest in, right? Their life and their transformation. But what
yeah,
I love about your message is it's so simple. Hey, I'm just here. I'm trying to build my network.
yeah,
Be open. And if they're not open, they're not open. Great.
yeah,
Right? But if they're open, like a certain percentage of people will respond to that, right? If you do enough,
totally.
right? You probably don't have to do that many to get one response. Like what's your conversion rate for people who have any kind of response to that? If you send 100 messages, how many people will respond to that, do you think, Eric?
Um, it's about if I send 100 messages, about 10 to 20 people will respond to
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Great. Now, for
Um,
everybody listening, are you willing to get 80 no responses? If that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's all the more reason for you to do it, right? To feel what that
yeah,
feels like and to just realize it doesn't matter.
it really doesn't. And so many people don't even see that message, or they've got so much stuff going on.
It's not about you.
You get that message, it's just like, I'm just busy. I have people that also, they say, no, not interested right now. I'm like, great. Every no gets me closer to a yes. So I'm actually looking for the no's, because if
Yeah.
I get the no's, I'm like, oh, well, thank you for telling me. Now I know it's not right for you. I'm going to go another direction. So we want to look for the no's. The coolest part about this, Daniel, is you become so empowered in yourself when you're not afraid of rejection. I can't tell you how many areas of life that goes across. You become so courageous, so strong, so centered, so grounded in yourself because you're not worried about, does this person like me or not? Will this person reject me? You have a mission and you want to serve people and you're on that mission. Some people it's not right for, and that's okay. No worries. I wish you well. All good. And then some people are like, yeah, it's funny that you reached out to me during this time. I really need to talk to somebody about X, Y, and Z. And that's the person that you are meant to serve. And it's just a numbers game. When you reach out to a certain amount of people, you just do it as a habit, 1 hour a day, just as many people as you can. Eventually you run into somebody that's like, yeah, I need your help. It's just
Yeah.
it's just how it works. It's math,
Yeah.
which is the
And
cool.
part of the process is you building up the communication skills too and learning how to do this and face that all the time. So I like when you
Yeah.
back before you started with CMC, Eric, did you have a lot of rejection challenges that you maybe weren't aware of? Like below, like did you have that challenge?
Totally. I would say, I mean, I have a unique background. I had some time in sales.
Hmm.
And
Right there.
yeah. And so I definitely, and it's not to say that I still don't like feel like, oh, that if somebody like writes a rude message, well, that's not a good feeling, right?
No.
But
Losing a client is not a good feeling either, right? So,
yeah, yeah. And it's very rare that people write a rude message back. But yeah, it still doesn't feel good, it feel great that people say, no, it's not, the time for me. But I go, okay, no worries, and just move on to the next person. So, I guess I forget your question.
well, this is back before you started CMC, like, you did suffer from rejection, and even as so you are a trained salesperson as well, and you still suffer from the challenge of dealing with the rejections, right?
Totally.
So it's
Totally.
totally normal for people to do that, right? And
Yeah.
maybe like, maybe I would ask you actually in your journey with CMC, was it one thing or was it many things that you had to like deal with to get through to the other side of the consistency that you needed?
Yeah. I think it is many things. But I think the biggest thing to overcome is just stop worrying about what people think. And because if you know that you're here to improve people's lives, if you believe in yourself and what you're doing, that you really care about those that you serve, if you really believe in even just the intention you have to serve, if you truly believe in that, then you're not worried about what people think because you're coming from your heart. You're coming from a place of service. You're coming from a place of, I really want to help this person. And
Yep.
so that those rejections things come up, like those fears, especially early on for me. But I just knew that, like, I used to be in solar sales, and I really believed that I was making the world a better place when somebody would adopt solar because they were going to, they're going to have solar on the roof, they're going to save a bunch of money, they're going to, it's cleaner energy. It's good for everybody involved. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, it's good for everybody. Yeah, like all sides love it. And for me, it was like I believe I'm making the world a better place with what I do. And so I have no problem getting rejected because sometimes it would even confuse me like you this is such a good thing. I don't understand why. That's how much belief I had in that. And that's how much belief I have in my coaching and like just the belief that I can help somebody. You don't have to like anybody starting out there or a few years in or whatever. You don't have to feel like you've served thousands of people. You just have to believe that you could serve somebody really well for an hour and you just start there. I can really help somebody. I know I can. So the rejection doesn't matter. It's part of life. And when that person does reject you, well, that's just not the right fit. And that's all it is. It's not personal. There's nothing wrong with you. So when you can drop that worry of what people think and realize that you're coming from this place from your heart, there's nothing to lose because you're giving. You're serving, you're giving. You're providing something that people need out there, and that is coaching. And so when you come from that place, it's like, did Martin Luther King, did he worry about rejection? You know, I mean, when he's standing and speaking the I have a dream speech, did he worry about rejection? He took a lot more heat than we ever, will, hopefully, in our lifetime. But he stood up and he said what he believed. And look where we are now. Like, it's definitely better. We still got things to work on, but you get the point. We're not going into politics. You get the point is when you come from your heart, when you come from a place of service, you have nothing to worry about. Rejection doesn't matter because you know you're doing good for the world with what you do.
I love that, Eric. And I think a lot of coaches, there are times when they do have that full belief. Like when you're in a session and you really make a difference with the client at the end of that session, you're like, oh, that was an amazing session. Oh, I really changed that person's, trajectory today, or it really made a
Yeah.
difference and made an impact. And then you forget
Yep.
about that. Maybe you didn't get a testimonial, you didn't watch your testimonials, or maybe you forgot because now you're like thinking about yourself and worried about rejection or worried about people judging you, or I don't know my niche, or I don't know this or whatever. But like there's so many ways for you to trick yourself into forgetting the immense power and value that you have to give to the world. And so like I think it's not just that you have to have the belief, you have to just not forget. Like you'll
Yeah.
have the belief up and down sometimes, or maybe that belief will be there, but it gets overshadowed by the opposite belief, which is like, oh, I'm not good enough. And that's about you. Like, that's like the thing I tell coaches is like, don't be selfish. Don't make this about you and your inadequacies.
Yes.
It's
Exactly.
actually not about you and your inadequacies. It's about the impact you can have on people because
Yeah.
open that door for them and then what they're capable of, their potential, right? It's actually really more about them than anything. So I really
Yeah.
love you shared that, Eric. What would you say is the value of getting support in this process?
Immense.
In what
Immense.
ways? Like tell me about that. Like why?
Yeah. Because even if you have a strong mindset, like you need people. You need other people that you can say, hey, this thing came up. How do I get through this? Or, I worked really hard, but this didn't happen the way I wanted it to. We all need community in life and in business too, because it's hard. It's not necessarily easy. It's like my mentor told me years ago, and I didn't really necessarily believe it at the time or thought, oh, I'll create it my own way. But he's like, business is hard. It's hard. Let's not sugarcoat it. It's hard. You have to do things that, are not necessarily comfortable, and you have to be consistent. In the long run, it becomes easier, but let's be real. It's hard. And so I think when you have people to do it with, it gets way less hard because now you can share this, you could share that, you can connect here, you can connect there, they can send you a referral, you can help them out. You need community, and that's what helps us. You know, I don't think I would have been able to get through that like initial phase without this community. Like just being able to share my challenges.
You mean CMC, Eric?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think I would have been able to get through the like initial, challenge of a lot of those things, especially with all the stuff I was going through last year. So yeah, you need
Seeing
that.
you, the business can be very discouraging at times, right?
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. Discouragement comes up a lot for coaches because they are putting themselves on the line, right? Like you're putting yourself, and it's really hard to get out of your own way with that. And you like rejections are really easy to take personally, and even
Yeah.
like competing interest in your life, right? Like how much time do you
Yeah.
have? And things are going to come up, and are you consistent? And are you sacrificing your outreach because of things that came up or things that seem important but are actually just distractions, right? Awesome.
Make
And that's
sure
actually
it's
a good metaphor for humans too. Like let's plug you back in because you're running
yeah.
out of energy because discouragement can take up so much energy. I remember in my first few years of coaching, honestly, it lasted years because I didn't have the right support. Was I would like get a rejection or like go so far and then like not get progress, and I would like be busted for like weeks, sometimes months, and I would make no progress. Then I'd go back to working on my business cards or my website, which was so much easier for me. Like
Right.
it doesn't accomplish much. So
Yeah.
it's so easy to distract yourself. So Eric, I really love all the things that you shared. What's your favorite thing about CMC? Since we're talking about support, let's finish this call on community and support here. What's one of your favorite things about CMC?
Yeah. I think for me, the one of my favorite things is just having the community there to share the struggles every week or the challenges that come up. And I think just being able to share that is really big. To even just to be able to speak it and say it is like, oh, this is the challenge. It's like, oh, it doesn't seem that bad when you have other people like, yeah, that comes up here and there, and this is what you do in that situation, or here's an idea, there's an idea, here's a suggestion. That's bigger than we know because we can sort of get it off of our chest and not carry all of it alone. And so the idea of community is really big. So I would say that. And then I would say a lot of you guys as the leaders of the community, like just to know that somebody's doing this and they're doing it well and they're living off of this and doing very well, right? So just having people that have done it, that are doing it, that are successful with it is knowing it just makes you know it's possible because you're like, oh, I if somebody else can do this, I can do this too. And that goes for any of you listening out there. If I can do it, if Faisal, if Daniel, anybody throughout this community can do it, you can do it too. It's just actions, it's just habits that you just do. You just learn how to talk to people, then you learn how to get them on calls. It's just a skill set. And then you learn how to, here's my offer. I've got these two packages. Anybody can do that. It's just a skill that you learn. It's going to take a couple months to learn a lot of this stuff. It's going to take a year or two. But if you want to, I think what got me into this, Daniel, what got me into CMC was one of the videos that you guys were recording a podcast. Probably love to hear this. Uh, and you were talking about looking at coaching over the 10-year time frame. Like looking at it like
Yeah, I remember that.
because I was like so like I really want to have clients and I want to have them now. I want to be able to be sustainable and I was like so determined, but I was so stressed because I was looking at it in a 3-month time frame.
Yeah.
But I love when you guys say that, and that's what got me in to be like, okay, like I don't have to do it all right now. I don't have to figure it all out right now in this month and this day. I can start thinking of this in decades and be like, okay, what could I accomplish if I, and that's a good filter question. If you really want to be a coach, if this is really what you want to do, you know, would you still like to be doing this 10 years later? Is this still for me? Yeah, 100%. I think with speaking and podcasting and other things too, writing books, yes. And consulting as well. Yes, I want to do it. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Like, this is what I want to do. I'll just do whatever it takes until I get there. So if that's you, if you're like, okay, I'd like to do this in 10 years still, then might as well give yourself the time to figure it out and give yourself grace to like go through month by month, learn the skill that you need to master for these, excuse me, for these 3 months, realize that last thing, realize that the sales might not come for 3 months or 6 months. They could come faster as well, but um, realize that maybe you don't get the 5 clients in that month that you wanted until 6 months from now. But once you do that, boom, now you've got a process, and all of a sudden it builds on top of itself, and it gets easier and easier, and you get more clients coming in.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. I love that, Eric. And for those of you listening, if you want support, go to cmc.coach right now, join our community, and message us. We'll be happy to point you in the right direction. And Eric, thanks for being an awesome proof of the point that you can still make a coaching business work if you're committed and consistent on it. But you have to think about this career as a career, not as a temporary stopgap measure.
that was it.
Right. And so like you think about other careers, I invested 5 years of my life and so many thousands of dollars into an engineering career.
Right.
And, and that definitely had an ROI to some degree.
That was it.
On it. And like today, like I'm still investing in my coaching, business in terms of my own education. And like that's what you should do in every career, right? Whatever career you're in, do it well, invest in yourself, or figure out what career you'd rather be in, right? So I love that. Eric, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. And I appreciate you sharing your success stories. And all the clienting that you've done. I know you've had many clients sign on with you, and they're having great experience from from hearing from you, and I appreciate that so much. And hope to talk to you again. Maybe we'll have you back on the podcast again.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks so much. And I'm moving from individuals, hopefully working with teams now. So I've got somebody enrolled for a team. So hoping to continue to grow and improve. So thank you
Good
so
for
much
you,
for
Eric.
having me on.
Good for you, and congratulations on your success. It's fulfilling to me to have been part of your journey. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And there's always more to do.
yep.
Always levels, but thank you.
All
Thanks,
right,
Dave.
Eric. I'll see you next time.
All
All
right.
right. Okay, bye.
Talk soon, man.